Hi friends, and welcome to our fifth and final week of our All Together Now Summer Library program. This week we've been in Camp Community, where we think about what is a community and who is a community helper. So our community is where we live, the place where we live, whether it's a small town or a big city or just our neighborhood. That's our community. And community helpers can be firefighters, they can be teachers, they can even be animals. In this book, Doggy Defender, Stella is a search dog and is a community helper. Teachers, librarians, healthcare workers, the people who provide for clean water and electricity, all sorts of people can be community helpers. And you know what? You and I can be community helpers too, because when we pick up trash, don't litter, help somebody that needs something. For example, if someone needs help crossing a street, or they've dropped something and have trouble picking it up. There are lots of ways that we can be community helpers too. So today we're going to hear a few stories about different kinds of community helpers. I hope you'll enjoy them. This book is a true story. The name of it is Stella the Search Dog. And it's written by Lisa M. Gary. And instead of having an illustrator, it has a photographer because this is a true story. The photographs are by Lori Epstein, and it's published by National Geographic Kids. Meet Stella. Stella is a bloodhound. She lives with her family and her best friend, police trooper Enzo Diaz. Trooper Diaz is also Stella's partner. That's because Stella has a job. Stella is a search dog. She uses her strong nose to help find people who are lost. This job is very important. Stella and Trooper Diaz need to practice to stay in tip-top shape. Today, they are training at the police station. Trooper Diaz helps Stella get ready by putting on her harness. Can you see that in that picture there? To help Stella practice, another trooper hides out of sight. The trooper leaves behind an item that smells like her, a pen. Stella sniffs the pen. Now Stella can track the trooper. Bloodhounds can find people by following the scent, the odor that they leave behind. This is because bloodhounds have very, very strong noses. Stella uses her super nose to follow the trooper's scent trail. She's found her. Good job, Stella. Now that they've practiced, it's time for Stella and Trooper Diaz to patrol. They ride in a special police car. Stella hops into the back. Ready to roll. Suddenly, Trooper Diaz gets a call on his radio. A hiker has gone missing, and no one can find him. It's time for Stella to act. The hiker is lost in a forest. To get there, Trooper Diaz and Stella will need to ride in a helicopter. Trooper Diaz helps Stella put on her goggles. All set, Stella and Trooper Diaz get into the helicopter and buckle in. It's time for takeoff. What a view! Stella loves riding in the helicopter. The helicopter lands where the hiker was last seen. A storm is moving in and they have to act fast. Time to get to work. Luckily, the hiker dropped his bandana. Stella takes a good sniff. Sniff, sniff. She's off. See her running? She's tracking that lost hiker. Stella follows the hiker's scent through the woods, and Trooper Diaz is close behind. Stella never loses the scent. She keeps going through the stream to the other side. They track the scent up a fallen log and over it. Stella never gives up. The hiker is counting on her. Wait, who is that up ahead? Stella and the trooper and Trooper Diaz have found the hiker. The hiker is so glad to see them. He has been waiting for hours. Way to go, Stella. Now that he's safe, the happy hiker thanks Stella for rescuing him. Back at the station, all the troopers thank Stella, too. They are very proud of her. She saved the day. Trooper Diaz is the proudest of all. Good job, Stella. Here's pictures of Stella and her partner, Trooper Diaz, and some answers to questions. And then Stella's safety tips in the back. And these are things that children or all people need to know. Number 1, know your full name, address, and phone number. 2, know how to dial 911 if there's a problem or an emergency. 3, don't keep secrets from your parents. 4, always wear your seatbelt. 5, don't go anywhere with someone you don't know. 6, don't take anything from strangers. 7, if you get lost indoors in a mall or a store, find the nearest store employee and tell them you're lost and wait there with them. 8, if you get lost outdoors, stay where you are and don't wander off. Stella's safety tips are good for everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this story about Stella the search dog, and she works for the police. That's another big community helper that we have is our police. This book is Waiting for the Biblioburro, written by Monica Brown with illustrations by John Parra. And in this book, it's a very different kind of community helper. It was published by Tricycle Press. On a hill behind a tree, there is a house. In the house, there is a bed, and on the bed there is a little girl named Anna, fast asleep, dreaming of the world outside and beyond the hill. When Anna wakes up to the rooster's kiri-kiri-kiri, Papa is already at work, and Mammy is busy in the garden. Anna bathes her little brother and feeds the goats and collects the eggs to sell at the market. After breakfast, Anna and her mother walk down the hill. Anna closes her eyes against the sun and wishes she were back in the cool of the house with her libro, her book. Anna has read her book, her only book, many times, so many times she knows it by heart. The book was a gift to her from her teacher for working so hard on her reading and writing. But last fall, her teacher moved far away, and now there is no one to teach Anna and the other children in her village. So she doesn't have a teacher, can't go to school anymore, and she only has one book to read. So at night on her bed in the house on the hill, Anna makes up her own cuentos and tells the stories to her little brother to help him fall asleep. She tells him the stories about make-believe creatures that live in the forest and the mountains and the sea. She wishes for new stories to read, but her teacher with the books is gone. One morning, Anna wakes up to the sounds of tak-a-tak, clip-clop, and a loud tia, tia. When Anna looks down the hill below her house, she sees a man with a sign that says, Biblioburro. With the man are 2 burros. What are they carrying? Libros, books. Anna runs down the hill to the man with the sign and the burros and the books. Other children run to him too, skipping down the hills and stomping through the fields. They're very excited to see this man. Who are you? Who are they? The children ask. The man says, I'm a librarian, a bibliotecario, and these are my burros, Alpha and Beta. Welcome to the Biblioburro, my biblioteca. But, Senor, Anna says, I thought libraries were only in big cities and buildings. Not this one, says the librarian. This is a moving library. Then he spreads out his books and invites the children to join him under the tree. Once upon a time, the librarian begins, sharing the story of an elephant who swings from a spider's web. He reads from books with beautiful pictures and then helps the little ones learn their abecedario. He sings A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Finally, he says, "Now it's your turn. Pick out books, and in a few weeks, I'll be back to collect them and bring you new ones." "Me too?" Anna asked. "Especially you," says the librarian with a smile. So many cuentos, stories. While Alpha and Beto chomp the sweet grass under the tree, Anna picks up book after book and finds pink dolphins and blue butterflies, castles and fairies, talking lions, and magic carpets. So many stories she doesn't know how to choose. "Someone should write a story about your burros," she tells the librarian, rubbing Alpha's nose and feeding more grass to Beto. "Why don't you?" he said. Then he packs up the books and is off. "Enjoy," he calls to the children. "I will be back." Anna runs up the hill to her house, hugging the books to her chest. She can't wait to share her book with her brother, and that night she reads until her eyes won't stay open any longer. Each morning, Anna does her chores and reads and looks out her window. She listens for the sounds of Alpha and Beto, but weeks pass, and the librarian doesn't return. "When will he come back?" she asks her mother, who smiles and says, "Go read, Anna." "When will he come back?" she asks her mother, who smiles and says, "Go draw, Anna." "When will he come back?" she asks her mother, who smiles and says, "Go write, Anna." "When will he come back?" she asks her mother, who finally says, "Go to bed, Anna." One night, Anna dreams she is flying over her country on a butterfly's back. In her dream, she crosses mountains and oceans and rivers and jungles, bringing stories everywhere she goes. Stories fly from her mouth and fingers like magic, falling into the hands of the children waiting below. When Anna wakes up, she misses Alpha and Beto and the Biblioburros books. She remembers that the librarian told her she could write a book, and so with pencil and string and paper and colored pencils, she does. She starts to write her own book. Finally, just when Anna thinks she'll never see the Biblioburro again, she wakes up to "Ti-ah, ee-ah," and children yelling. She runs down the hill with her library books and a special surprise of her very own. "I wrote this cuento story book for you," she says. "Que bueno," the librarian says, and then he reads her story to the children under the tree. When it's time to go, Anna's book is packed carefully on the burro's back, ready to be carried away over the hills and through the fields to another child who is asleep on a bed in a house on a hill behind a tree, dreaming of Alpha and Beto and all the new stories the Biblioburro will bring. So this is a true story about a man in Colombia who was a teacher and a librarian, and he would deliver books to children in remote villages where there wasn't a library and maybe not even a school. And it helped, and he took his two donkeys, Alpha and Beto. And it's a great story about a man who was two of our community helpers, a librarian and a teacher, and how he shared books and stories with children in Colombia. I hope you enjoyed it.